So I'm going to talk a little bit about iPad and iCloud storage. So if you're anything like me, you likely have a lot of things on your iPad. You may already have a lot of things on your iCloud, and now you're sitting there and you're wondering, how do you do anything? How do you clean it up? How do you free it up so that you can add more stuff to it? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Before we kind of dive in, I think it's important just to talk a little bit about the differences between your iPad and iCloud. So the iPads from the college have obviously a certain number of storage space, and they kind of differ based on person. So that's something important to know. And then your iCloud account will have a 5 gigabyte limit with a free account. So by default, when you sign into your iPad, sign into your iCloud account, you have that storage space. Well, that storage space, it goes up pretty quickly, especially if you're starting to use collaborative documents and pages, number or Keynote, and or if you're putting your photos on iCloud. So that number can actually be increased. You can pay to increase it. And it's really important to note that this is done for you as an individual and not by the college. So if you want to increase your iCloud storage, that would be up to you. Another thing I think that's important to know are the symptoms of your iPad being full. You'll often see it, it'll tell you your iCloud storage is full, your iPad storage is full. But another thing that often happens is that folks will come to us saying, I can't download new apps, and I don't know why. Or I have an app, it's downloaded to my homepage, but I can't open it. Like when I tap to open it, it just tries to open and it closes immediately. Or you just notice in general that your processing power is going way down. So these are all usually symptoms of storage space, and specifically usually storage space on your iPad. So wanted to talk through all of that first. And now let's kind of talk about, and I'll share my screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's talk about specific things that you can do to actually free up space on your iPad. And I'll start too by saying that we have all of this listed out in our documentation site, on our DePeters Family Center documentation site. So don't feel like you have to follow with me through these steps. If you prefer to read through it, we have that as well. So first thing we're going to talk about is where you find your storage information. So obviously go into settings. And then on this first page, you kind of is where you're going to choose. You want to look at your iCloud storage, or do you want to look at your iPad storage? Oftentimes what I've seen is that folks may know about one, but not know about the other. So it's important to know that there are two places you check. One is obviously iPad storage on your device. iCloud storage is the other one, and that's obviously up in the cloud. So let's talk about iPad storage first. So I'm going to click over here on my iPad storage. And we'll go super basic with all of this, just in case you've never seen this before. But obviously up at the top, you get kind of a graph that shows where your storage space is being used the most. So you can see in mine, it's the apps. I have a lot of apps downloaded and a lot of stuff that we are testing for the center. And a lot of them are really big apps. So that's why you can see that pink line is huge. The next one is the iPad OS. This is the actual software that runs on your iPad. So, and these do take up quite a bit of space. And unfortunately, usually there's not a whole lot you can do about that in terms of reducing that space. So that's just important to know. And you can see there's a couple other things. And then the last one there is system data. This is another thing that unfortunately can't be reduced, but is usually comes with the iPad. It's all of the processing power behind the scenes. So then down below, you get recommendations. These will kind of vary depending on what you're using your iPad for and where the storage space is being used. So you can see one of the big ones is offline unused apps. So if you've got a ton of apps and maybe you're not using something right now, but you want to keep it there so you remember that it's a tool that you want to use, offloading your unused apps is a great way to do this. You can see if I do this, I will get 5 gigabytes of data back. I don't particularly use offload unused apps because I use all of these apps pretty regularly. So I want them to be accessible. But basically what this will do is it'll keep the icon on your home screen, but it'll just look like it's not fully downloaded. So basically the next time that you want to go use it, you just tap it and it re-downloads. Like it says here, your documents and data that are associated with that app should be stored. So there's really nothing that you'll lose. Next one is if you do have your messages synced with your iPad, auto deleting your old conversations can be super helpful, especially so it'll specifically focus anything that's over a year old, any messages, attachments. So if you get, if you've got over a year old photos, videos, stuff that you maybe already have saved in your iCloud or on your iPad or on your phone or somewhere else, this is a really easy way to get a ton of storage space back. And then similarly, the review large attachments. So this is also related to messages, but specifically related to any attachments. So the auto delete old conversations is related to stuff a year or older. Review large attachments will actually let you go through your messages and figure out, okay, someone sent me this screenshot that I needed right then in the moment, but I don't need this anymore. And you can go ahead and delete that. So those are some of those common recommendations. There's others that come up often as well there, but those are the first place to start for your iPad storage. The next one that is super helpful is just looking at your apps. So going down and looking at your apps down here, and automatically they'll sort by size. So you can see I've got messages is up at the top there, and then photos. So it's showing you these are the apps that have a lot of things in them. GarageBand is one that is a huge app in general. If you use it, and so what oftentimes I'll actually do is offload it. So we talked about offloading already. So you can do that from here, or you can do it from the recommendations up here as well. But basically, all of these different apps allow you to do different things in terms of once you click into them. Some will just say offload, some will say delete. So if I click into messages, you get a little bit more information. So you can actually go into your top conversations and delete stuff out. You can go into your photos, videos, and even GIFs and stickers and actually delete stuff out that way. So I think that's also super helpful to know, is that you can go in and look by app. Another one is on my iPad, and this will actually show anything that's saved on your iPad, any files that are saved on your iPad. You can see I've got a bunch of stuff here. So this is another place where you can come in and click at it, and you can actually go in and delete the different files. So that's kind of the gist of iPad storage. Now we'll switch over to iCloud. So to get to iCloud, I'm just going to click on my name up here. And then I'm going to click on iCloud. And actually, I'm going to take a step back for just a second. So you can see I actually have an upgraded account. I have 50 gigabytes. You might have an upgraded account that has more than that. You may even have an iCloud account that you have your own personal account, but you share a bigger kind of umbrella account, and the data is distributed, or excuse me, the storage is distributed amongst individual iCloud accounts. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the iCloud, and you can see the iCloud does the same thing that your iPad storage does up at the top, gives you your items and where most of your data is. And for me, obviously, it's messages, photos, docs, and then my mail. So I primarily use iCloud to be able to use my messages across all of my devices. I very rarely use it for photos, except for work items. I actually use a different service to back up my photos on my phone, just what works for me. So similarly here, you can see it's ordered by, similarly, it does show all of your apps. So you can actually go through here and decide if there's apps that you do or don't want to have access to your iCloud. So, and it's important to note, so if you decide that you don't want to turn Pages, Numbers, Keynote on for iCloud, then you can't use the collaboration tools for them, which is obviously kind of a benefit of using those Apple productivity tools, is being able to collaborate with others. But if you don't use Numbers all that often and you really only use it on your iPad, then you might consider turning off the iCloud connection to it, especially if there's a lot of data in it. So this is another place to look. The next place is actually underneath here. It says Manage Storage, and you can click it and it will eventually load, hopefully, and it will actually give you all of the information. So I was saying originally talking about sharing storage data. So this, you can see this share with family. That's how you would set that up. This is also how you decide if you want to purchase additional iCloud storage. You go there. And then from here, it looks similar to the iPad storage. It gives you the apps by data. So again, you can go into Keynote and see, okay, I guess I want to delete, if you wanted to delete the data here. I wouldn't recommend doing it this way because you don't get a preview of what that data actually looks like. But you do get, with some of these, if you click into them, you do get more detail. So it kind of depends on the apps that you have the most, that use up the most iCloud storage. So the last kind of area that I'll talk about with all of this is files. So hopefully you're using Files. I personally find that the Files app is super helpful because it's the one place where you can bring in Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, and iCloud Drive, as well as what's on your iPad into one place. But let's say you have stuff on your iPad and you want to easily kind of look at it and then send it to your iCloud Drive, or you want to send it to Google Drive. You can simply do that by, let's say if this is the item that I wanted, if I touch and drag it, I can actually move it to my iCloud Drive. Now, when I say move it, it's going to create a copy of it. So it'll create a copy, and you can see I've already got this item in my drive. So I'm actually just going to replace it for now. But now you can see I've got the newest attendance item right there at the top. But if I go back to my iPad, it's still there. So all you would have to do is just press and hold on it again, and you can click delete. And now it's just on your iCloud Drive and not on my iPad. So you can do that with multiple files too. Up here in the top right, if you click select, and then if you click on the items that you want to move, then down here in the bottom, there's the little move button, click move, and you can decide where you want it to go. So I'm going to say iCloud Drive, and then you would click copy up in the top right, and it'll move it. And you have to do the same thing here. Just remember that you would then go back and delete the items out of the original place that you pulled them from. But I think this is just helpful in knowing that sometimes it can be a lot, especially if you come in to your files and you're on your recents and you're like, wait, where are things located? How am I storing? There's a lot of information here. Just thinking about being able to move and then being able to remove items is super helpful. And obviously with Google Drive and OneDrive, you can do this on the cloud-based versions of these tools. And on iCloud Drive, if you use a Mac or if you're looking at your iCloud on a PC, you can also clean up items there as well. And then we also, like I said, we have this documentation on our website. We also, the other big one is photos. Folks often find that their device is just jam-packed with photos and they don't know how to even begin to clean that up. There's actually a full link from Apple that kind of walks you through your different options for that as well.